What's up, everybody? Happy Wednesday. All right, it's my first video of today. And a lot to talk about as usual. We got the CPI earlier this morning, up 0.3% in December. That puts the year-over-year rate of increase at 2.3%. That is the highest in 5 years. 5 years. And the core, when you strip out food and energy, that was also up 2.2% year over year. So above the Fed's target rate, they're always talking about 2%. And it's interesting when you look at the CPI, and I've spoken about this before, when you actually look at a chart. And today I wrote this in an article for Street.com. I put the chart in there. And I also sent it out email for those of you on the MMT trader list. You could see where that bottomed. It's very clear. It bottomed like back at the end of 2015, and that's when the Fed put through the first rate hike. So it's very, very clear that inflation accelerated from there, and that's going to continue to be the case. And the mainstream belief, the mainstream economic belief, the so-called orthodoxy is that high rates inhibit inflation, but of course that's not the case. Something else I want to talk about. Some of you, listen carefully now. Some of you got to be very careful not to become what ifs. Remember all my categories of people, right? We had the cockroaches, we had the mousy boys, we had the stop losers, we had the parrots, right? And we have the what ifs. The what ifs are people who say, hey, what if this happens? What if I'm in a position and, the dollar goes against me? Or what if the Fed does this? Or what if, Trump's policies end up bringing on a recession? What if, what if, what if? You can't be a what if. I mean, things are going to happen. Things are always going to happen. We have an analysis. We have a strategy, we have a plan, we put on a position. All right, once we put on a position, you need to have trust. Remember PADDT, my system, patience, alignment, detachment, discipline, and trust. You have to have trust, not just in the analysis and the strategies and the methodologies and the mental game, but you also have to have trust in your skills and your ability to work out of any situation. So don't be a what if. If you're going to be a what if, you are going to paralyze yourself. You're going to make it impossible to pull the trigger on a trade. Like that guy I talked about, who canceled my subscription because he said, the timing, he's paralyzed. He thinks that the secret of success lies in having that perfect timing. It's never going to happen. Every single trade that I get into, I close out with a profit. You could put me in any trade. I will take any trade and I will work that to a profit. At worst case, I will work it to a break even. No problem whatsoever. I am totally 100% confident of my ability to do that. I don't care what happens in between the time I put that trade on and when I take it off. I do not sit around, speculating in what ifs. I'm a trader. I get in. I have confidence in my ability. I have trust in the methodology, in the approach. I have the mental game. I don't care. I don't waste my time and energy, hypothesizing about what if scenarios. Anything could happen. All right, anything could happen. You could step off the curb this afternoon and get hit by a car. You could get on an airplane and that could crash. An asteroid could crash into the earth. Low probability, but that could happen, okay? Anything could happen. Don't spend your life, paralyzing yourself on these what-if situations. Have trust, people. Have trust in yourself. Have confidence. Build some confidence. With confidence, with self-confidence, you can accomplish anything. You can accomplish anything, all right? That pushes you. That keeps you positive. That makes you overcome obstacles. If something happens, you deal with it. We have the skills, we have the abilities. At least those of you who follow what I teach. There's probably a lot of you who don't. I see a lot of times in the comments when I put up these positive concepts and these motivational concepts. There's lots of commenters who want to try to bring that down. You know, they're so miserable in their own lives. They're such losers. They want, you know, that's how it is when anyone's successful. They want to bring them down. They want to bring them down to their misery. All right? They want to just pull them down into the muck that they live in. Not going to happen. It's not going to happen. I have supreme confidence. I could profit on every single trade. I don't sit around jerking myself off worrying about what if. So please don't do that, all right? If you find yourself doing that, stop. Think about something else. It's very easy to change your mind. I mean, you just think, have other thoughts. Have other thoughts. The problem is we believe our thoughts. You could just as easily create uplifting and positive and motivational and strengthening thoughts as thoughts that are going to paralyze you and scare you and bring you down. All right? And I've spoken about language in the past. Don't say things like it's going to be really, really rough or the market is tanking. The market doesn't go into tanks, okay? Anyway, story out, and I should have kept this for a separate video, but I'll just mention it quick. Maybe I'll get back into it later. There's a story out today that Trump is now asking his team for a 20% reduction in the federal work staff and a 10% overall reduction in federal spending. Do the numbers. And I'm not saying this is going to happen because a lot of things that Trump says doesn't happen. I mean, if you look at his views on Russia, which I view as very constructive, his desire to normalize relations with Russia, but yet if you look at his appointees for CIA, Mike Pompeo, if you look at Defense Secretary James Mattis, these guys are hardliner, anti-Russian guys, all right? He's chosen them, but yet even after their confirmation hearings in which they really expressed very hardline anti-Russia, anti-Putin views, Trump goes out the next day and says, hey, me and Putin are going to get along. I'm looking forward to this. I trust him, da-da-da. So this stuff might not happen. I'm just bringing it to your attention. There was a news report that Trump has asked for a 20% reduction in federal work staff and a 10% reduction in overall spending. Now, federal salaries are about $180 billion a year. So you cut that by 20%, you're pulling out $36 billion. And remember, that's income that flows to people. If you're cutting 10% of federal spending, that's $4.5 trillion. And so you're talking $450 billion. You got those two cuts. We are absolutely, unequivocally in a recession. All right, now I don't know if it's going to happen. Those cuts, he says, are not going to come from so-called entitlements, Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, and those are the biggest spending items. He says they're going to have to come from, discretionary. It's going to be hard to find without a lot of political backlash. So it may not happen. I'm just bringing it to your attention. And anyway, no matter what happens, we're not what ifs. We'll see what's going on. If we have to make adjustments, we make adjustments. That's what we do. That's what we do here. All right? We're tough. We're strong. We're resilient. We're anti-fragile. We're positive. We're strong. We're tough. Oh, I said all that stuff. All right. See you later, everybody. Bye-bye.